Hi, and welcome to a video on how to solve a system of equations by graphing on the TI Inspire. For the purpose of this video, we are going to be examining example 2 from the Algebra 1 textbook, Unit 5, Section 1, example 2, where we're graphing a system of equations. So to get started, since we're graphing, let's go right to our calculator, and we're going to create a graphing screen. Under New Document, you can enter graphs, or you could use the graphing shortcut from the main screen. But either way, we're graphing. Now, the standard form here already has it in function notation, which works just fine with our problem since it's already solved for y equals. So I can go ahead and just type in negative 2x plus 5 and hit enter. There's my first line. I will hit tab to bring up the graphing bar again and type out my second line, 4x minus 1, hit enter, and I can see that they have a nice intersection, and that was pretty straightforward. Now to find this intersection point, we're going to go to Menu and use Analyze Graph Intersection to give us the precise value. Now we could look at this and guess the value, but with graphs you can never quite be sure in the calculator. The most precise thing is actually to calculate here with our intersection. Now notice what happens when we did Menu 6.4. It asks for the lower bound. It's got this little notation here asking for lower bound. And there's this dotted line that follows the hand as I move it. If you're not sure how to move the dotted line, what you do is you put your finger on the touchpad on your calculator. It's nice touch sensitive, so you don't need to click anything, just slide your finger across, and the dotted line will move as well. Now, lower bound is asking you to define a bound to the left of your intersection point. It's thinking lower bound in terms of the x values, and these x values, which, for example, the negative numbers, are less than or lower than my intersection value. So I can choose anywhere to the left of this side. I'm just going to choose a spot here. Once I've found a spot that works for me, I will hit enter. There's no wrong spot to choose there as long as it's to the left of the point. Once I click enter, it says upper bound now. Upper bound, I want to think, okay, to the right or above the point as far as the x values go. As I move to the right, notice it creates a shaded region. We want the shaded rectangle that I'm creating to include my intersection. And as it includes the intersection, notice the intersection point actually appears. I hit enter, and there is my solution, 1, 3. So that is how you can find the intersection point of two lines, or in other words, solve a system of equations on our calculator. Now a couple reminders, your functions will not always be in nice function notation or slope-intercept form. So let's say, for example, I'm going to clear this out. Let's say we have different lines. Let's say I have some in standard form, or I've got horizontal or vertical lines. All I have to do is go to Menu, Graph Entry Edit, Equation Templates, Line, and choose one of my templates. Or my favorite shortcut right now is also to choose, instead, Relation. Relation will let me type in any equation I want. If you don't have the updated software on your calculator, you won't have this relation option. So in that case, you would have to use Menu 3, Graph Entry, Equation Templates, Line, and one of the line options. So I encourage you to update the software in your calculator if you do not see this relation option. Let's make one up. Let's say I have 2x plus 3y equals 8. And let's say I have a vertical line, x equals negative 2. Let's find out whether they intersect at a whole number or at a decimal. So there is their intersection here. Menu 6, Analyze Graph Intersection. I want to go to the first corner in this scenario. Because we have a vertical line, it's a totally different option than the upper bound and lower bound. So let's look again at what we do here. Menu 6, Intersection says first corner. So just choose a spot. We're going to create a rectangle, and we want my rectangle to include this spot. So let's say I make this my first corner. I click, and then as I move my hand around, notice a rectangle is created. So I want to drag this rectangle until it includes my intersection. Notice it does that there. So anywhere that it includes my intersection is a good spot to stop and hit enter. And it gives me my intersection point right there, negative 2, 4. I made up the numbers, but conveniently so, they did give me whole numbers, which was a great coincidence. Nice to have nice whole numbers there to deal with. And so that is how we find the intersection point of two lines, or in other words, how to solve a system of equations.